Hello. So today's going to be a little bit of a fun one, but it's going to be very, very guide focused. Today I'm going to be talking a lot about Syndra, playing the Syndra comp, and how I'm playing it, in this case with School Mascot. So School Mascot is one of the most broken augments in the game, mainly because of how broken Syndra is, mainly because of like Eldritch as a trait just kind of exploded in the way that the set was released, right? I wanted to make this video. I'm probably going to do 2 uploads a day, so make sure to stay tuned for those, and I also stream on Twitch. But make sure to like and subscribe if you like this content, especially if you're watching this video and you feel like you learned anything. I think that, try and show some support a little bit, and I'd really much appreciate it. Anyways, so let's talk about the comp. So I'm starting the game off. I have a belt, I have a Syndra, right? We're gonna sketch this up. We're gonna be watching this kind of like a VOD review, and then I'm gonna interject with like stats and all of the other stuff. But I just want to show the opener as well as some of the decisions. I'm scouting. I'm seeing if anybody's playing Syndra. Syndra, this guy's holding a Syndra. I don't see any real Syndra items because JG is not good. I have a glove here. I have a sword. I have half and half, right? I hit School Mascot. School Mascot's busted. And it's busted for multiple reasons, right? Sweet Tooth is also busted. The problem is I don't really have Nunu items, right? So because I don't have Nunu items, I run into a situation of, well, what should I do here? I just take School Mascot, and I'm going to be playing Syndra, because School Mascot gives me an extra Syndra, so now I'm Syndra. I have 2 Syndras. I have basically half of 2 items. I have half Shojin, half Nashers. And what I'm anticipating to do is, okay, my board's kind of weak. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lose this round, lose this round, lose this round, and then get a tier or a bow on Carousel, and then I should be off to the race. I should be fine. I should be stable. I should be good. I could make a guard breaker in the worst case scenario. But I do not recommend making a guard breaker, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. Let's watch the next round, and then we'll pull up the stats as well as like the sheets and like all the other stuff, and I'll explain everything from the augments to the comp and the itemizations and everything, so you guys understand where I'm going from and what I'm playing. Now, the main thing you should always understand is when you're playing a reroll comp, typically you don't want to be contested. Now, 2-cost rerolls could be supported by 2 different people, because they upped the bag size of the 2 costs. So that's why a lot of times you'll see Syndras competing with each other, and then they'll like contest each other. This guy, I don't know what he's playing, but he has 2 Syndras. Maybe he's forcing Syndra. I don't see anything broken. If you see somebody with School Mascot, you should be really scared. Here, I don't know. I just hit 2 Syndras. GG, I guess. Like, the game was really nice to me. I wasn't expecting it to 2 Syndras, but this is a game that I'm playing towards Syndra, especially with School Mascot, right? School Mascot makes Syndra very flexible, and it's like a must-take augment all the time, because you can very easily play around the Syndras. This guy, he's playing like multi-strikers, but I think he's going to pivot Syndra. He has no Syndra items. His Syndra isn't on the board stacking, and I feel like he's in a bad spot, so I don't care if he contests me, right? The way that I always think about playing a reroll comp is that even though it can support 2 people, you usually don't want to be contested, just because like that's how you increase a lot of the variance of the game, and a lot of times you can just like get a bad placement for no reason. You should always look at your spot, and you should ask yourself a couple questions. First question you should say is this a good spot? This is a hard question that a lot of people don't bite. A tough pill to swallow, right? Because especially when a comp is as broken or as notorious as people talk about Syndra, you try and delusionalize yourself into thinking every spot is a good spot. My spot's actually good. I hit School Mascot, and I have now I have 5 Syndras. I'm exclaiming at how amazing this spot is, right? But I have 5 Syndras out of nowhere. This is a good spot. Check mark. And then what you should ask yourself is, do I have pivot? So the answer to this one for me is no. I can't really pivot. I took School Mascot. And the last question you should ask yourself is anyone better, right? Does somebody have a better spot than me before I commit fully to itemizing this Syndra? Because Carousel is coming up, and I'm going to pick a Syndra item. If I pick a Syndra item, does somebody have a better spot than me? No, nobody has a better spot than me. Check, check, check. We're good to go. We're playing Syndra. Done. That's the thing. We're going to take a good item on Carousel. We're going to look at the stats now, so I can show you guys the guide aspect of this video, so you guys can all see what's going on, right? Boom. Stats. Let's figure this out. Oh, sorry. That's my music. First things first. What's the best placing augment? Sweet Tooth Plus, not Sweet Tooth. Sweet Tooth Plus. Sweet Tooth is a little bit worse, right? I had the option of taking Sweet Tooth, but I don't want to take it because I didn't have any Nunus and I didn't have a Nunu item. Sweet Tooth is one of the most broken augments in the game, but it scales with the Nunu getting kills. So you should not take Sweet Tooth. The same checklist I said before. I didn't take Sweet Tooth because my spot wasn't good for it. I didn't have a really good Nunu item to slam, so there was no reason for me to take Sweet Tooth. However, I did start with a single Syndra. School Mascot gives me a second Syndra. School Mascot, 3.74. Most broken thing in the game, and I'll tell you why. The School Mascot, it's a little bit overtuned in terms of how strong the mascot is. Number one, it gives you a Syndra, right? So if you take School Mascot and you already have a Syndra, you're very close to hitting a Syndra 2, which is a stabilization point of the comp. So not only does it give you a Syndra, it also makes your Eldritch Beast a lot stronger that also scales into the later part of the game. What this allows you to do is it allows you to play the Syndra comp, but instead of playing Syndra, you have the option to level vertically to try and play around 7 Eldritch as a stabilization point, because the School Mascot basically every single fight you're gonna have like a bonus unit that does way more damage than most of the units on your board. Plus with the School Mascot, especially if you hit 7 Eldritch, it stalls out so much of the fight that it allows your Syndra to get so many casts off that she eventually deletes the whole board. And getting so many casts off also allows her to scale really fast to a point where she has like an insane amount of damage. I wonder if I can hover here. Here, I'm hovering Syndra, right? This is the description of Syndra. Hopefully you guys can see it and read it. I'll double check in my my OBS just to make sure. It's a little bit awkward. Let me go by units here. I'll go by units and I'll read out Syndra. This is the biggest part of Syndra. If you've ever played Syndra and everybody talks about her being broken and then you try her out and you don't go top 4, this is the main reason, right? Read what she does. Conjure a Rift, blah, 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 who gives a shit, right? 20% shreds your target. That's really important. You don't have to worry about making shred items early because the Syndra already deals with the shred. So you can focus on just making mana items and anti-heal items. It's really good for item economy. So you don't have to make a Spark right away and you don't have to make a Shiv right away. You can delay that until later. Then, 15 casts. Enemies that are adjacent to the target are shredded and take damage. Every 30 casts, create an additional Rift that deals 35% damage. That's the big thing, the additional rifts. Whenever you see Syndra and the whole board just gets deleted, it's because when Syndra casts, she makes these bonus rifts. This is the most broken part of Syndra. It's probably the thing that I would nerf first, is the fact that she scales off her casts. So what you need Syndra, you need a Syndra early, you need the Syndra to get casts, and you need to average, like in my opinion, every stage you need to average around 30 casts to stay on tempo. So basically you just get this extra rift that then deals bonus damage to other enemies and just deletes the whole board. If you're not scaling the cast with the Syndra early, so if you don't have either a Nashers or a Shojin early on the Syndra, then you don't get all these casts off, and then you'll be stage 5, Syndra 3, and you'll just lose the game because you don't have like 90 plus casts. You need to make those additional rifts to keep up her damage into late game, and that's the part that makes her really broken. Right? So these are all conditions that you need to understand in order to play Syndra, right? Or in order to like properly optimize or play the Syndra board, right? Now we can look at stats. Let's just go like home, right? And I'm trying to get the Explorer. Here we go, Explorer, right? So let's say Syndra 3-star, right? What are the best items on her, right? I'm sorting by positive delta. This means these are the best items to put on her, and I'm going to put craftable, right? As you can see, the best items, Nashor's Tooth, Red Buff, Shojin, right? They all have a large amount of games played. Red Buff has a lot less, but Shojin Nashor's is usually like the go-to things, and they improve her position by a lot, right? The idea is that Shojin is a mana item that gives her mana that allows her to cast faster, and then Red Buff gives you anti-heal, damage amp, and attack speed. You even see Gwinsu sometimes being good on Syndra. A lot of it is just about her getting those casts early and getting them often, right? So a lot of times I'll make something like Shojin Nashor's Red Buff, but you can see even something like Blue Buff helps, even something like Adaptive Helm is fine, even something like a second Nashor's is fine. The items are really flexible past the first one. What you really care about with Syndra is attack speed, and you don't want stuff like, even Rabadon's is good just for damage, but stuff like Jewel Gauntlet, Hextech Gunblade, like some of these are a lot more like sus or a lot more whack, because usually what you want is just want to get her, if you want to get those casts as you want to get those casting, right? In terms of like the best augments, it's not like the highest one, right? But it's really up there, right? School Mascot is just really, really strong. It's just not necessarily a Syndra 3 style comp, right? Because what you're gonna end up doing a lot of the times is you're just gonna play all the Eldritch units, and you're gonna push levels, right? Because in order to play 7 Eldritch, you have to find a Briar, right? So a lot of times your board will look something like this, and then you'll usually have like an extra Vanguard, probably something like this. This is like, and like one other, what's their name, like Incanter, like let's just put Karma, right? Your board's gonna look something like this. If you have an Eldritch +1, you could drop the Ash, right? But you're trying to get towards 7 Eldritch for School Mascot to go crazy. What this gives you is it gives you an opportunity of this board, as opposed to re-rolling Syndra and Cassiopeia. So a lot of times you'll play this board, and you might end up rolling like, you know, Syndra, Cassiopeia, right? Instead of re-rolling for Syndra, Cassiopeia, if you see that you're contested and somebody is like forcing you, the reason why it's so broken and the placement is so high on it is because the 7 Eldritch stabilization, you can just go for Syndra 2. You go for Syndra 2, you push levels, and you wait for the other guy to die, and then you roll for Syndra 3. Right? That's like the main thing with it. It gives you the opportunity that you can push levels while still playing around Syndra. Because the thing is, as long as you're scaling your cast, like let's say you put the items on it, whether you hit the Syndra 3 now or you hit the Syndra 3 later, as long as she's casting a bunch, right? As long as she's getting those casts off, she'll scale into late game. You just have to upgrade her to 3-star later, right? You can delay it until later, and you can just level to play like something like this, where you put 2 Vanguard in your front line, as well as play around like having a Nami and a Tahm Kench and an Ashe. Right, the Ashe isn't necessary, and you can even drop to like 5 Eldritch like this, and you can play like what's it called, Incanter Mages, right? So you can easily fit in a board kind of like this. Where is Vex? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. One more mage. It's usually the other guy, right? It's usually like this. Here, I'll show you what I mean. If you're going for like a high cap level 9 board, you usually play something like this, right? Because you get 3 mage in for this, you get the extra Incanter for Karma, and you just play around the Syndra, right? This is like what I'm saying about like you have the option of, if you're contested, you can play something else, and that's kind of how you want to structure yourself when you're playing around what's it called? Blah, 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 blah. When you're playing around like Syndra. So here, basically with my board, what I do is I just upgrade some units. I'm holding on to the Eldritch units. I'm trying to get in 5 Eldritch. Basically, every like 2 after 3 Eldritch basically just keeps getting stronger, so you get your upgraded beast. So this is the next augment after Krugs. I found 6 Syndras total, right? 6 Syndras, I only need 3 more, right? Doesn't matter if I lose these fights. I'm basically going to be econ up to push levels, right? I leveled here and I lost. It's kind of unfortunate, but you know, we're just gonna ride this train out and rock it until we get to like a high level. Here, oh, I didn't show the augment that I took. I took this augment. This augment's like that item augment that's really broken. I forget the name of it, but I'll show it on the stats as well. So I just took like another really strong augment. Augments. Right, if I go by this and I go gold, I took, where is it? It's somewhere up here. It's like one of the best ones. Item Collector. I took Item Collector. That's what it's called. See? Basically, you just get a bunch of extra health, and then you get extra attack damage and ability power. The extra health is really good, because basically what you're doing, with Syndra a lot of the times, she will have the damage, but especially early game, you don't really care about the fights ending really soon. What you care more about is the fights lasting long enough that she like farms casts. Right, I am more happy with my Syndra being underpowered for all of stage 3 than being overpowered for stage 3 and then falling off because you one-shot everything and you don't do a lot of casts, right? That's like the main idea behind what we're doing here. So anyways, we're playing 5 Eldritch. As you can see, you might be wondering, it's like, but where's the Cassiopeia? Where's the Incanter? Yes, Incanter is very good for Syndra. It gives her a lot of AP. It makes her a lot stronger. But that's something we can worry about later. Right now, 5 Eldritch will guarantee us as being really strong because we have School Mascot, right? So don't get too baited into it. We could drop the Nico for an Incanter, but we just want like a nice, strong, stable front line. We want our Syndra to scale up the cast. I made an effort to like keep clicking my Syndra this game to show you the casts. So hopefully in this VOD, we'll see the casts. And then remember what I was talking about? I'm down for red buff or blue buff. I didn't get the bow on Carousel, so I just made blue buff, right? The bow was hard to get, and also it was on a cheaper unit, I forget. So I just make blue buff. Remember we looked at the stats, it said blue buff's fine. Blue buff really relies on Syndra killing a unit in order to proc the extra damage. And we also are down an anti-heal item now, so it's a little bit weird. right? It's not the greatest thing in the world. But if you look at me, there's another guy that's just rolling all his gold on level 6 for Syndra 3. We'll look at his spot when we get there. We're not gonna look at it right now. I can't scout because I'm in the middle of watching the VOD. You know, I don't have those tools available to me. But like I said, we want to get these items on Syndra as soon as possible. We got our Shojin Nashers, which was great. We have blue buff, which isn't necessarily the greatest thing, but in the stats with a smaller sample size, mind you, it does say it's really good. We high rolled into a Nami, so I don't have to play like the Nyla, but I should probably switch out Ashe for Nyla. I think at one point I'll realize it. Having more frontline is more important. I want to win these fights, but at the same time, I want them to go on as long as possible to farm cast for the Syndra, because then the Syndra is going to be an absolute demon. But our goal this game is not to roll on 6 for Syndra 3. We're not rolling for Syndra 3 right now. It doesn't matter that I have 6 Syndras. We're not going to grief the game because we're going to play for a first here, right? The reason we're playing for a first is because we have school mascot. If you look at this guy, he has Syndras. He has no items. He has a belt on Syndra because I don't know what he's trying to make. He's trying to make Nashers or Guard Breaker. 0 Syndra items, and he's holding 4 Syndras, right? 4 Syndras isn't that much. I can definitely roll all my gold down on 6 and hit Syndra 3. But if I roll while this guy is still alive, guess what? I'm not going to go first, right? We're going to play this super greedy and we're going to play it super aggressively because we have school mascot, right? When you have school mascot, I can push levels. I can stabilize around a karma with items as well. And then I can keep pushing levels until this guy, and just to strengthen my Eldritch Beast if I have the opportunity to make a strong board. And then I'll worry about it later, right? This guy, he might beat me this turn, right? That's fine. Go ahead, bro. It's all good. His augments are shit, right? He took Stars Are Born and he tried to hard force towards Syndra with Stars Are Born, right? It's unfortunate for me, but I've been, like, if you come to my live streams, if you watch me live, sorry about the cut. But basically, like, as I was saying, if you come to my live streams, I've been talking a lot. I've been talking a lot of smack. I've been saying a lot of shit. But a lot of it is just frustration about, like, always feeling like I'm contested even when I have a good spot. This is an example of what you do if you have a good spot for Syndra, right? Now, if I was the other guy in this game, I would have pivoted off of Syndra because the spot's not good, right? At one point, I'm going to start looking at the amount of cast that my Syndra has, as well as the cast that the other player has. I'm using it as a teachable moment, not just to say, not just so that people, I don't like the environment in TFT of when everybody just like looks at what the strongest comp is and blindly hard forces it without actually like critically thinking about their spot, right? Whenever I'm complaining, it's usually about that. Because I'm expecting the people that are in my lobby, even though I'm a little bit like, you know, it's still rank up season, we're still trying to get better at the game, right? You know, obviously everybody to each their own, have fun, do whichever you want to do. But whenever I'm playing with like my peers, I get more annoyed that if I'm surrounded by people that I feel like, you know, aren't like thinking about the game. They're just like blindly doing stuff, right? If you look at my Syndra, so we looked at the casts. This guy has Syndra off field right now. I'm going to see when he brings back the Syndra, exactly how many casts the Syndra has, and you'll see what I mean by the discrepancy in skill, the discrepancy in power that our Syndras are going to have between the two of us. Here, Giant and Mighty is really strong, and it gives health as well as max health. That's really good for my front line, and Syndra really cares about having like a nice, stable, solid front line. I'm holding on to Wukongs because I can easily just put in an extra Wukong at one point. To be like an extra stabilization unit, but because I hit the Warwick 2, or sorry, because I hit the what's his name, Mordekaiser 2, I feel like my frontline's stable, right? I have Nico 2, I have Mordekaiser 2. Nico doesn't matter that much. I'm playing Karma. I'm not even worrying about holding on to Cassiopeias because I'm contested on Cassiopeia. I'm not gonna like hold them for no reason. It doesn't matter to me. I'm making 50 and I'm just gonna push levels. I'm a little bit behind because it's 4-2. And I'm level 7. I did roll a little bit on level 7. I'm not exactly like fast 9ing going to level 8. But this is the Syndra player, right? Syndra player hit Call to Chaos and has a bunch of non-mana generating or non-attack speed items now. He has a bunch of, what's it called? Sniper's Focus or Sniper's thing, right? It's like, those aren't good Syndra items, right? Especially if you have 3 snipers and no mana generation. So we're going to look at the difference in cast and you'll see what I mean. Look at my cast. Oh, sorry, that was really fast. Let me go back one little tidbit. Okay, I need to pause. Sorry, I'm really bad at... I think in the moment, it's easier than when I'm looking at it in post. I'm going to show you the difference and why the Syndra stacks up. And then you'll see at the end of the game, and I'll be like, wow, Syndra's broken. But you'll be able to see it pretty easily, right? So here I'm at 65 casts. Remember what I was saying? You want to be at around 30 casts every stage. Because the 30 casts, you get an extra rift, so it keeps up your damage. That's like an approximation that I'm making. So start of stage 4, I'm at 60, right? Start of stage 3, I was at 30. So on stage 2, I earned 30. On stage 3, I earned 30. Now, by stage 5, I want to be at 90, right? And then at stage 6, I want to be at like 120, right? That's like an approximation, right? The idea is that you're getting an extra rift each stage, which allows you to deal extra damage to extra units. And as people are scaling up their boards and getting more and more units on their board, you're also scaling up your damage by getting more and more rifts on your board. That's what makes Syndra really, really broken. So I'm at 65 casts right now. Let's see the other Syndra player once I get an option to look at their board. I'm pretty sure they're like in the lead. I'm pretty sure it's this guy right here that's like highest HP in the game. Or it's one of the other guys. I forget who the Syndra player was. I think it's the highest HP guy because he sent it early. Oh no, never mind, it's this guy. So this is their Syndra. Let's see the casts. 27 casts. 27 casts because there's no Syndra items, no mana generation, well behind tempo, right? 27, he didn't even reach his first rift, right? It's stage 4, 3, and he's not even at his first rift, right? Not very good Cassiopeia items either, you know, but I digress, right? He's obviously very close to hitting a Shyvana 3, and it's valid to play this, but he's stuck on level 6, doesn't have good augments, and doesn't have the Syndras. Now, are we going to enter this Gambit? He now has more Syndras than me, right? He has one extra Syndra. He might hit Syndra 3 before me, right? The thing is, I'm stable and I have a game plan, right? That's why School Mascot's really, really strong, right? Without School Mascot, you run into a situation where instead of playing around 7 Eldritch, what you usually have to do is you have to play around Karma more, right? You have to go to level 8, right? You go level 8, you play around Karma 2, right? And then you go for Syndra later, right? Because a Syndra 2 is still strong, right? She's still broken, but you have to level to try and compensate for, like, you know, the fact that, like, you don't want to get stuck on level 6 rolling. Now, if that guy pushed levels, if that guy was pushing levels and trying to play, like, a higher level board, then I would stay on level 6 and roll, right? You always want to do the opposite of what somebody does, right? If somebody's rolling really aggressively on level 6, you don't want to roll with them because you're just making an increased variance for yourself. I have the option of just leveling and just playing around it. Here there's a spat. I can maybe make an Eldritch emblem. If I don't make an Eldritch emblem, I'm looking to make some Mordekaiser items. I want some frontline items, right? Obviously, I'm not going to be that strong right now because I'm full greeting, right? I'm 50 gold. I'm not spending any of my gold, and I'm trying to push levels. So these couple rounds, we have some wiggle room to play with, right? We're 53 HP. We have some wiggle room, and we'll be fine. We can worry about it later. Right, I'm at 72 casts. I'm hoping to get to 90 casts by the end of the stage, as I was saying before, and we're gonna try our best. Also, my Syndra items aren't like pure damage, by the way. Having the blue buff instead of red buff usually is a little bit stronger in my opinion. I've played a lot of red buff Syndra. I've also played a lot of like Rabadon Syndra. Those are all a little bit stronger, right? So here, I'm gonna roll slightly on level 8, try and stabilize. I'm trying to find somebody to put in to make my board a little bit stronger. I'm playing the Ashe and I'm putting her in the front line just because the Eldritch Beast levels with star power, right? Like the star level. So I'm trying to put in the star levels here to make sure that, like, you know, the Eldritch Beast is a little bit stronger. Because I think that it's just better to put Nyla in the front line. I'm just putting Nyla in now, even though she's a 1-star. And we're trying to go level 9 or find a Briar, right? As soon as we find a Briar, we put Briar in and we fix up our board. We can also play around playing a Tom Kench. I don't even think I have Vanguard in right now. And Mordekaiser is my main tank. Without Vanguard, it's a little bit rough. But as you can see, we're starting to like win some of the fights, right? Now I just spent my gold. I leveled up. I'm a little bit more stable. I found this Morgana, which is she's not the 5 cost I wanted, but she's the 5 cost I'm going to play. Because guess what? We get Witchcraft in because we have the Nico. Tom Kench goes in for sure over somebody. It's probably over just Morgana because, like, I don't think Witchcraft is that important. I'm eventually dropping Nico for Briar, and then I'm playing around Eldritch. 7 Eldritch is the way to go here because I'm School Mascot, right? That's why I really like School Mascot. Obviously, it's broken. I hope that when they nerf all of this shit, that it doesn't become unplayable, right? I feel like even if Syndra wasn't broken, this would have been a good Syndra spot. You know what I mean? Because I had a Syndra opener, I had Syndra augment, I had Syndra things. Like, even if Syndra was weak in the game, like if she was a weaker unit, like she was more balanced towards being like less scaling, right? I think this would still be like a good reroll spot for Syndra, right? Like that's the way you should always look at it. That irrespective of how broken the unit is, you still have a spot where you feel comfortable that you even contested you can top 4. Now I already have a bunch of Syndras, so like, you know, it's not the odds are really risky if I go level 9, but the way that I'm playing this game is I'm kind of waiting for that other guy to die. Right, whenever you're playing like a contested comp, there's basically 2 ideas you can go for. You can either like hard force it and try and roll and both get a top 4 and maybe you both hit. But for me, it's like the less risky approach is I'm just going to push levels. I'm going to play around this Eldritch Beast. If you haven't seen School Mascot, when you have 7 Eldritch School Mascot, this guy becomes like a carry. This Eldritch Beast becomes so absolutely busted that you'll be fine. That's why I love taking School Mascot. Sometimes, like, there was one time I played Syndra and a guy hard forced it and then he also hit School Mascot, which really sucked. So, you know, things like that can happen, don't get me wrong, but the idea is that, like, you have the option to play around it in a different way. Obviously if you're rerolling Syndra, I wouldn't suggest playing it unless you have a much better spot. The reason you always want to have a better spot than your opponent is because you want to you always want to be in a spot where, like, even if you're contested, you'll outplace them because you'll have more HP in the long run. That's what usually when I say a better spot means, right? If I didn't have a good spot for Syndra, I definitely would have found a way around that and pivot. Maybe play around Nami and Karma as the main carries. Because with School Mascot, that's also an opportunity, which is what I'm trying to do, right? If I hit Karma 2, and I get a remover, I might switch items over in a really, really risky case, like if I'm like scared of losing. Now I'm playing against a Syndra player. I hope I check the casts because I really want to see what they're at right now. But I don't see any chance that this guy's ever going to beat me. Even though this guy, like, you might look at him and he's like highest HP in the lobby, there's almost no way that he top 4s. Even if he hits a Syndra 3, his Syndra 3 is so far behind in terms of like scaling up the casts that the Syndra won't be good enough. And that happened to me a lot. The reason I'm saying this is from experience. If you watch me on stream, I went 7th with Syndra 3, Cassiopeia 3, Nico 3, Swain 3. I went 7th with that board. And the reason I went 7th was because I started with a lot of Syndras, but I didn't have Syndra items. And by the time the game scaled up and everybody had really strong boards, my Syndra was not doing enough damage because she did not scale up her cast. Now, I might be wrong on this. Maybe you've had experiences where you pivot into Syndra and you won the game for free and the comp really is that broken. But I always believe in the fact of play the comp that you have the best spot for, play the board that you have the best spot for, and you'll always do well in TFT. Right? It hasn't been working for me because I've been up and down, up and down, up and down, but I am slowly climbing up the ladder. It's just I have to figure out some more nuanced gameplay, similar to this one, right? I've seen somebody do this in one of my games that I played. That's why playing games are really important. I saw somebody contested Syndra, and they took School Mascot, and they didn't go for Syndra 3, and they just leveled to 9, and they won the lobby. So I said, hey, if they can do it, I can do it. I have 3 really strong augments. It's like 3 Turbo Bis augments. This guy beats me, that's fine. You know, he has Karma 2, he has more upgrades. I haven't even reached my max cap, and like I said, I'm greeding. I have 70 gold, right? I'm one off Syndra, that's fine. I'll hit the Syndra later, right? I don't want to spend my gold because I want to make it to level 9. I want to have odds of finding Briar. As soon as I get 7 Eldritch online, I will be stronger than most of the lobby. 7 Eldritch with School Mascot is so strong, and I'm also scaling my Syndra. So what's going to happen later in the game is that even if I don't have Syndra 3, this dude is going to pop in. He's going to be unkillable. Syndra scaled up her cast by so much that she's going to do so much AoE damage that I'll be able to deal with most of these boards. Right now, this board is really unlucky because this guy built 2 QSSs, and he has one of the best augments for multi-strikers, that like stabbing the heart one. I forget what it's called. I think he beats me here because my board relies on stunning a lot. So, you know, with my Nami not really doing anything, I'm definitely going to lose this fight. Like I said, though, we can see the cast. I'm at 110, right? 110. Basically, by 5-3, I'm going to be at like 120. I'm definitely like good pace. Right, like within the next 1 or 2 fights, I just need 10 more casts and I get another rift. There's an Eldritch emblem. That's going to solve my problems. I don't even need a Briar. Never mind. This guy who's not even playing Eldritch, I think he just took it to grief me. Or he thinks he's going to play Eldritch. But that's fine. Guess what? There's a Briar on Carousel. You can't deny me both of them. But look, he's not even close to playing Eldritch. He's 1 out of 3 Eldritch. So he took a useless item. I think just to deny me. Because he knows that if I get Eldritch Emblem, I'm going to win. But I'm already like twice his HP, so I'm winning anyways. It's fine. There was Briar on Carousel, so I don't even care. Right? I'm totally down with that. Guess what I'm doing this turn? I'm leveling. I'm leveling for Briar. Oh, maybe not. Okay, so I'm rolling a little bit. Okay, so the reason I rolled here... Okay, this is my tech, right? I'll explain it. I rolled before leveling because I already have the Briar. So I'm rolling with less shop odds to try and hit the Syndra 3 and or Mordekaisers because the shop odds decrease when you go to level 9. So because I already have the thing, I'm just like, whatever, I'll roll. And I'm one off Syndra. Maybe it's a little bit high roll that I hit it, right? I started the game off with like 6 Syndras, right? So I was bound to get Syndra 3 anyways. But now the game's over, right? Like, I have the best comp in the game. I'm fully scaled. Have you ever seen a Syndra crack like 150 cast? Well, guess what? She's going to do it this game. Blue buff Nasher's thing. I'm full cast build, right? And as you can see, I hope I show it over here how much the Eldritch Beast does for damage. Eldritch Beast almost does as much damage as Syndra with this, right? It is absolutely absurd. So now I have like 2 Giga carries on deck. I don't really care. I'm just gonna get top 4, right? That's just how it is. It's a guaranteed top 4, more or less. Even if I didn't hit Syndra 3, I still think this is a top 4 because with the Eldritch Beast, like 7 Eldritch, I'm definitely stronger than like 2 or 3 of these people, right? I'm definitely stronger than this guy that was contesting me. I'm definitely stronger than these 2. Maybe this guy, the multi-striker guy, is stronger than me, but I can probably play for 4th, right? And that was the idea at the beginning, right? I was saying maybe I can play for 1st if I hit everything, but if I don't hit everything, I can definitely get a 4th with this setup. And that's what you should always think about, right? You always have to look at your spot and say, in the worst case scenario, do I get a 4th? This guy used to be strong. Guess what? We're gonna watch our Eldritch Beast just slam the whole deck, right? Bang. Everybody's fucking done. But yeah, this is like an idea with Syndra, right? Whenever you look at these Syndra comps, hopefully I explained Syndra as a unit well enough in this video. Now it's just gonna be like power trip. We're just gonna watch me like absolutely ream everybody. Oh, imagine if I lose this fight. That's actually really close. That's a Syndra diff. Because that guy was really strong, by the way. Like just in terms of like his Karma board. Because Karma's also very, very strong. I have Karma 1 here. I'm not gonna feed Briar because like, you know, I might need these lives. But yeah, he does 1,000 damage as his active, right? He jumps in and he stuns everybody, and he has like, you know, they even nerfed this. When I played in PBE, I didn't play it properly because I wasn't playing like Syndra reroll and all of that stuff. I was more so just playing it. It used to have 3 items. They dropped it to 2 items. So you know, like when people are like, oh, the game isn't balanced, the game isn't this. It's like, yeah, the game isn't balanced, but they did kind of try. You know, Syndra was nerfed like 4 times in PBE. Like I'm at the first instance of PBE till like when they released the set, she was nerfed like 4 or 5 times. Like I think every patch note she was slightly nerfed. But I think they just targeted the wrong spot. I think they didn't nerf her casting. And I think that was the more important thing to nerf. Which I think is gonna be coming in a week or 2, you know. We'll see what happens. I get Nami too. She's like established now, extra damage. I can also go for Mordekaiser 3 at one point, which is pretty good. This is a multi-striker guy, which I think he's gonna do really well against me. But the thing is, I have Eldritch Beast, so I'm gonna distract a lot of these units for a while. Look how much HP he has. You see all those ticks? He has like 6,000 health. Let's check Syndra casts. Hopefully I show it in a little bit, and we'll see how it goes, right? But this is like a way of like, you know, obviously I hit like really good augments, but that's the way it should be, right? Like I try not to play these really contested comps unless I have a good spot for it. And this was a game where you have a good spot for it. If you see school mascot, you can basically just play Syndra, right? Because you have the option of leveling, right? I played most of the game with Syndra too, right? If I didn't spend so much gold in certain spots, like there was a couple spots where I rolled a little bit and I stabilized a little bit, right? I wasn't like super greedy, but I could have easily like rolled like more gold, like even if I was 1 life now, stabilize around Karma or like even like a 5 cost unit, right? There's a couple that you can easily just slot into the board and it would have been fine, right? This guy's a little bit scary with 5 Pyro, but I don't think the thing with 5 Pyro is he needs to execute the Eldritch Beast, and I don't think he's going to get there in time. So yeah, we'll see. Cast. Oh wait, I didn't see it. I want to rewind a little bit to see the cast. But yeah, like this was something I studied with my own VOD losses, right? The amount of scaling that you need on Syndra is the only reason that she's really broken, in my opinion, right? like some of it's damage, but so much of it is like the scaling of cast. Like if they like make the cast like every 45, I feel like Syndra would fall off a cliff. Right? Like something like that might be a really easy nerf. Kevin, I missed it again. I'm at 130. Okay, so not quite like 150. So, you know, but I'm close. I'm close. 130 is okay though. I think it's because now the fights are lasting less, like not as long, because I have a Syndra 3. I'm not farming as many casts in these later game fights. I think I was at like 110 a little bit ago. 134 now. But yeah, this was probably one of the strongest boards. The strongest guy is definitely the multi-striker guy. I'm just saving my gold to see what I want to roll down for. I'm down to roll for Mordekaiser once I hit it, but you know, up until then, I can also fit in Arcana with the Xerath, but I don't really want to lose anybody. Like, I don't want to lose Incanter with this Karma. Another way you can also top out this board is with 4 Incanter. It seems like it's kind of troll, but in a lot of cases, like if you reroll and you hit Mordekaiser 3 and you have like a really strong front line with reroll, pushing levels for 4 Incanter is actually really, really strong on Syndra as well. That's like another way you can optimize your board. Let's see. So this guy is Portals. Yeah, it's just like Rise. He's playing Ezreal carry. He actually did really well for Ezreal carry. I believe in Ezreal carry, but I think it's just like a lot of the comps that I thought were really good are just getting really overpowered by some of these more like overtuned comps like this. But yeah, hopefully that was somewhat informative of a video. It kind of just turned into like, yeah, we just win for free. But playing the mid game the way I did, like there was a very high chance that I could have just spent all my gold on level 6 rolling for Syndra. And that's why like things like School Mascot, they place so high. Because like you have to understand that with School Mascot, it's less about like you really need to hit 7 Eldritch. I think with School Mascot, it is such a power spike. It is so tanky. He does so much damage as well. This Eldritch Beast, like when the Volibear jumps on the field, it's like holy shit. Like did you see the damage? Wait, let's go back. I'll show. Like, wait. When I show the battle report, I'll pause it for a second so you guys can see. Look, this is what I'm saying. Look, Syndra does 12k damage. Volibear does 8k. He does more damage than all the other units, right? It's literally like Volibear dual carry, right? School Mascot. And he's also like one of the tankiest units. He doesn't die. He does so much for the board. Here I just get an extra item for Mordekaiser. Everybody's only 1 life. I kind of don't want to let anybody hit anything crazy, so I'm kind of down to roll down my gold this turn. Right, I see this board. This is the board that's like slightly strong and I maybe get cheesed out. So I think I'm just going to roll down here for something. Maybe I don't. Maybe I just chill. I should just roll, right? The game isn't going to last long enough for me to make it to level 10. So it's better that I just spend my gold now to make sure that this guy dies. But I think I'm just too like, yeah, it's whatever. It's over. But I should have rolled to 0 to try and hit Mordekaiser 3. This guy doesn't have QSSs, so guess what? They're gonna get stunned as soon as Volibear jumps in. Bang. This is always scary, because sometimes I've had games where this Fiora dives the backline and just kills my Syndra instantly, and then I'm just like at a loss for like, you know, it's like, oh boy, we might lose this. Okay, so yeah, there's one guy alive still. I definitely should roll this turn. But I'm not making it to level 10. There's no reason really to go level 10. I should roll for a really good combat charm. Right, and then on top of the combat charm, I should roll for something else. So I'm just checking the board, making sure I don't have to deny anything. But yeah, I'm denying Camille's, right? Because I saw that he's playing multi-strikers and he doesn't have a Camille. So I'm holding on to Camille's because it's like, you know, we'll see. I'm buying 5 costs and selling them to make it harder for him to hit Camille. 10% true damage, that's an okay combat. And yeah, I'm just gonna sit because I'm sitting because I'm lazy. I should just roll to 0 because, you know, if the fight's over, the fight's over. But yeah, there we go. Syndra. It's like not even close. But yeah, So what are the takeaways from this, right? I gave you some Syndra tips. I gave you some reasons to anticipate. Obviously, there's different boards you can play with Syndra. I think I showed a lot of them already in different videos as well as on stream. But you know, it's not like an all-around Syndra guide. But it's a good idea of like understanding the unit and what the unit wants to do, and then how to play around that, right? So having like the early casting items and as well as the attack speed items are really important, because having those casts scaled up really allows you to like cap out your board, right? Even if I didn't hit Syndra 3, I probably would have ended up somewhere in like a 4th, right? I might have gone 5th, but it would definitely have been better than if I missed Syndra 3 and I was stuck on level 6 with this guy. Because even though this guy's spot was way worse, it's like, bro, it's like, it's not going to happen, right? We got a bit lucky with the Briar on Carousel, because I could have been in Briar jail and just not be able to find Briar. If you don't find Briar and you're 5 Eldritch, what you can play is you can play 4 Incanter as well until you find the Briar, right? Because basically I can just find a Cassio, and hopefully, like, it's going to be hard to find a Ziggs, but you should always try and hold on to a Ziggs just in case. I do that more when I'm not playing around Eldritch, but I forgot to do it this game. That's another way that on level 9, you can cap out your board and be pretty strong. Anyways, thank you for watching. Hopefully that was enjoyable. And yeah, I'll try and post like 2 videos a week maybe, so we'll see if we can post another one. And yeah, make sure to like and subscribe if you like the content. Bye-bye.